What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks, and we back in the building. You feel me? It's True Talks, cause True Talks. All right, let's get straight right into it. And I know a lot of y'all, a lot of y'all been thinking, "Oh, is Banks abandoning the Clippers? What's going on here?" He hasn't talked about them. They're on a 6-game losing streak, 5 games with Harden ever since the trade. And no, I'm just getting my consistency back, as you could see. You know what I mean? Like, it's starting to get familiar, and we're starting to, produce more. And obviously, we're gonna ramp it up and turn it up even more. My goal is to try and get to a point where I'm basically doing it a breakdown or a video just every day. You know what I'm saying? At least Monday to Friday, or at least 4 times a week, something like that. But I'm figuring out, and the balance is turning up. So just bear with me and hang in there. Obviously, so let's get straight right into the business, right? So obviously, like I said, Harden was traded traded to the Clippers, and again they lost. This is where I was trying to tell y'all. If you don't know, you obviously go look at my previous video where I talked about the trade. I tried my best to give the Clippers the benefit of the doubt, right? Which is why I was saying that I could see the 76ers, like, it's a perfect fit for the 76ers, because now you have the hierarchy figured out. Maxey going to elevate, obviously, and you have the 3-and-D guys around that. When you add Rocco and you add those other guys, obviously getting PJ Tucker to the Clippers was a surprising. So it was kind of like, okay, at least you have something. But then losing Batum, where that's a small ball length type of 6'9" defender that they kind of use. Marcus Morris as well, right? The 6'8", like, physicality, can get a bucket, space to, like, that whole Clippers identity and how they were moving. Like, Batum, Rocco, and Marcus Morris were definitely crucial, because they were part of the tall wing scorer, shooter, 3-and-D type of guys, and that enabled them to go small ball in scenarios like you saw versus the Jokic when Zubats is getting fried or whatever. Now we need to switch everything. That length, okay, we can get gang rebound, all that type of stuff. Now you're smaller. Now you have lineup of Westbrook and Harden in, and then Harden's obviously lack of defense, and he does be boxing out and stuff like that. And he does get rebounds, so won't do that. But for the most part, like, you're more undersized. So now if the switchability makes it tough, that's why you've seen down the stretch versus the Nuggets, they didn't even play really Harden and Westbrook. You have to kind of pick and choose one, right? Interchange. Terrence Mann obviously is going to get now more minutes in that small ball scenario. But it's just like the small ball scenario that they used to run feels more like the Rockets, where it's kind of like a disadvantage. Where for the Clippers, even though it was a disadvantage, there were so many advantages of it, because the disadvantage wasn't as much as a disadvantage. Obviously, Jokic will make it look like that, because he's the one big that will bully a small ball no matter what, right? He'll break your chest and he'll fight through, like, but regardless, that's why in the playoffs, all their success that the Clippers have had has been through the small ball, if you've been paying attention. But again, the small ball with Batum or Marcus Morris, one of them in. And then now you add Rocco, like, that's why the Clippers, they're deep, all that type of, they're deep, and they're a deep team and all my. But now when you trade, 3 of them are gone now to bring back smaller Harden and smaller PJ Tucker. Now you're running a small version of that small ball. It's very tough now, and that's what's happening right now that you see in terms of that auto small ball go-to lineup that they would go to, where they wreak havoc offensively and defensively, and then they just gang rebound. It's kind of doing them a disservice at times. It does work, as you could see in that game, but it's like it's a bigger disadvantage than it used to be, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So, let's go into, is this a mistake, or is this something that it takes time and whatever, So we'll kind of go into that context, because I give it that context. Let's go straight right into it, boy. And again, like, I'm not even going to do clips and breakdown. This is just, we're going to talk it out real quick, because I'm not mad at, like, the rotations and stuff like that. It's just, basically, I tried to tell y'all by the end of the last video that this is probably going to do more negative than positive. Everybody's, oh my God, positive, Harden, big four. And I'm like, dog, you can't just put names together. You got to see, is that a fit? Is there a clash of play style? Is there a redundant play style? Is it good? Like, does man's, do they mesh together just off of their prototype and what their strengths versus weaknesses? I was saying to you, Westbrook, that's why Westbrook with the Clippers is way better than Westbrook with the Lakers because no one kind of cancels his play style. Him and Terrence Mann are more equivalent, but Terrence Mann can play off the ball, and he has played off the ball during his success. When Rudy Gobert was guarding him, he was playing off the ball. He wasn't just running the ball. When they had who did they have at the one? I forgot who they had at the one. But anyways, the point was they didn't have Terrence Mann just running the one all the time, and then they started to adjust to that, adding him to the starting lineup, let him ball handle a bit more, et cetera, et cetera. When they were going through the injuries that they were going through. But for the most part, Terrence Mann can play off the ball, so that's why it's not that much of an issue, Westbrook being there, and he can run downhill. He increases their tempo in transition. They're a faster play. Westbrook, again, he's the main point guard, so he could, dictate. He's ball handle. Obviously, he's the gift and the curse, so right? He's uphill and tenacity and nonstop relentless, kind of like Giannis, but then making bad mistakes, knowing time clock and score. Like that's always been the gift and curse with Westbrook, right? It's more so like he has all the intangibles. He has the fight. He has the heart. He has the desire. He has the motor, the skill, not so much, but he does have not lack skill where he can hit the midi pull up, especially back then too. Like he's obviously stuff has changed, but with more comfortability, more rhythm, he still is fluid and still could move and still could get buckets and still could, it's more, he's like the Braun prototype, like a lesser version of Braun. It's the same shit. When they're hot, they're hot. If they're not, they're not, but they can run into the paint regardless and just give them the rock and they could, push in transition, PNR, and everybody else catch and shoot, but can get a bucket. And Westbrook does let mans have the rock and plays off the ball and can cut and whatever. So that's not the issue. That's why having one of his play style is okay with the Clippers, and it didn't even matter. If anything, it was a benefit. But now when you add another version of that play style where I have the ball, if I don't have the ball, I'm kind of useless, right? When you bring in Harden now, when you look at his play style, it's the same Luka, Harden, Westbrook, Braun play style. Those four are the like Chris Paul be running the PNR, but he can play off the ball. He worked on his catch and shoot game. That's why he worked with D-Book. Like a lot of these guys are the more one-dimensional. Those four are the list of the one play style. Their maximized best version of themselves has only been in that one play style. They haven't shown outside that one play style, I could still average almost 30, 25 plus, whatever, and be elite, and my team is also winning. That's why when I say that four prototype, the four-headed monster, the Mount Rushmore play style of that play style, that's them in the league right now. Those four. Every other point guard can play however. I do this. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm telling y'all something. This is not even a guess. This is a fact, right? Luka has improved this year with his catch and shoot because Kyrie's that much of an elite guy that him seeing Kyrie play like this and move like this, off the ball, no weakness. I can play in any system play style. As a point guard, I can play off the ball if you want me to. Play on the, like, he showed. All right, yo, Kyrie's really him, and we know he's the most skilled PG of all time. Him and Kobe are the two most skilled guys to ever play the game. 1A, 1B, however you know? So when you look at it from that perspective, that's the only guy that really is going to make Luka look at himself in the mirror and be like, yo, I need to work on my catch and shoot game. I need to be lights out from three. And that's why they're 9-3 this season. He has changed. It's still the same play style, but he has adjusted. He has changed, and he hasn't been a liability when he doesn't have it. All right? So that's why Luka has now surprised a lot of people. Okay, he's getting out of that Mount Rushmore play style. I can only do it in this kind of, he's getting out of that, even though he's still mainly in it, but it's not as reckless as it used to be when he would make Porzingis look like a shell of himself, Jalen Brunson, etc. So, for the most part, I like how Luka has been adjusting. So there is light at the end of the tunnel because all of those four, there's a way that they could adjust if they really want to and if they really kind of work at something. They can't just be who they are. They have to work at something simultaneous while they're on the team. Or an offseason, and that's what Luka took this. He took this offseason serious in terms of shooting. He went into the lab. You could tell. His form feels different. It's the same form, but it's quicker, more locked in. It's not as lazy. It's more sharper. You could see it. You could see it. Like every time he shoots, I'd be like, that's on target. That's bread. Like, you know what I mean? You could see it. So, like, I'm in tune. So I know he's been working on that. You could just tell. So again, now when you add a Harden and Westbrook, two on the same team from that play style, we've seen it again with Braun and Westbrook. We've seen it before in Houston with Harden and Westbrook. Those the two in the same kind of that play style PNR every time, shooters around me, and you know what I mean? Paint and three, 1-2 midi here and there, but for the most part, it's the ball in my hands every time. That play style, when you have two of them out of the four, it's very, very hard. Which is why in Houston, the only way they were able to make it work, they had to really do that small ball the whole time and trade Capella. And that's why the big was guarding Westbrook, so it was like, okay, I can run downhill on him. That's the only way they made it work, and they still lost, obviously, in the bubble in the second round. But for the most part, like, that was that you have to, like, when you have two of them out of that four, you have to do so much to kind of overcompensate for the disadvantages that two of them clash together bring. So when now Harden was being traded and Westbrook wasn't part of the trade, I'm like, all right, I didn't look at the big four the way y'all looked at the big four. I gave benefit of the doubt because, again, with the names, you can kind of, okay, if I'm assuming that mans have IQ, if we know what mans are and we try to make this work, I'm going to do some adjusting. So I'm thinking Harden's not going to be the exact same Harden, even though he has never shown me difference. That's why I kind of said, y'all are going to be surprised how bad. This is two ways. It's either it's going to be decent, and it could be really good if Harden changes. It could be. But if I assume that, that's me being stupid. So based off of the same exact prototype of guys, how they just come together, I do see this being way worse than people see it as being so great. It's more chances that it's more likely it's going to be this way, in the negative way. And that's what you're seeing in the 5-game losing streak with Harden. The points has dropped. The tempo has slowed down. Like, they're still scoring in transition here and there, right? But it's not as fast paced in terms of the offense, the flow, right? It's not as fast paced. It's, again, Harden when he's off the ball, Mans can sag off help. He did a little bit more catching and shooting, especially in the games that he did well. So I'm not mad at that. So he is doing a little bit different than what he used to do. You could see it, but for the most part, again, it's still you are who you are, right? So again, for me, I told y'all that this is probably not going to work. But again, you know me. If you know Banks, it's True Talks, because True Talks. If you know who I am and you know what I do, again, when you know what something is, find a way, adjust, find a way. You know this about someone, find a way, adjust. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my best to tell you the blueprint and figure out a way that this could work with the Clippers. One is obviously, like they did, they're trying to get Daniel Tice, right? And obviously Plumlee's injured, but getting a big that could shoot and space the floor will definitely do wonders, right? Because all the bigs that they do were implemented, whether it's Plumlee or Zubats, it wasn't a shooting big. So having a shooting big, that's why Ibaka, for the most part, did help them when they did have Ibaka, right? He was obviously injured and it was unfortunate just the way. But having a big who is this way, then having a big who is this way, and then you have the small ball as a third option does help. It does help. So obviously you would have Zubats in the game for when Harden is playing his PNR. Whenever Harden's in the game and he's running the one, and they had Harden, I think it's Harden and Kawhi together, and Westbrook and PG together. That's what they did, right? And in terms of when they always have two in at all times. You can kind of see that, right? I don't know if they should switch around and go PG Harden and go Westbrook Kawhi. The reason I say that, it might be unconventional, but the reason why I might say that is because PG has more of a flow. PG has more of I can catch and shoot at any time. He has more of a flow. He could do more. So obviously because he could do more, it would make sense being with Westbrook because Westbrook is more, he can relinquish more, right? But if anything, I think that Kawhi being with Westbrook where he's going to relinquish more, Kawhi could be more so get in my rhythm and post-ups, get in more ISOs. He could get in his rhythm more. So when he's off the ball, he's hot. You know what I'm saying? When all four of them are in. Where PG naturally is a more better fluid scorer, that he is the one that should be playing alongside with Harden because Harden's going to do the same PNR. And then when he does the bailout shit, at least PG has, for this team, let's keep it above. Paul George has to really move like KD on this team. Meaning, whatever you throw at me, I don't need rhythm. I'm already the rhythm. I'm already locked in 50, 40, 90. I'm already here. He's the more natural creator, the more natural fluid guy, and he's already tapped into a new level of not new level. That pandemic P has long gone. You could see it. It's gone. The aggression from him has increased. The I'm him factor in terms of the shots he's taking in the clutch, not even looking at Kawhi. The team is even going towards him. He's calling for it. Anytime they need a tray ball, he's the one taking it. ISO too. I might go psycho. Not even like screens. And it's close. It's rattles. It's back rim. Like it's on target. Even if it looks tough and oh my God, PG, that's what we. It's always on target. So he don't even care. Anything is pullable. He's literally like he's playing with man's minds. He's kind of like he's just pulling. Like he's just if you don't bring a pulling. Like he's going to get your fast twitch, like Kyrie type stuff. Like he's just dribbling and I pull him. Like I know what time he's on. He's fully back and even a better version of himself. You could smell it. You could see it. He's locked in. He really wants a 50, 40, 90 season. So that's the guy, if he's really hearing who he is, needs to be probably playing with Harden more so because Harden's going to do his PNR shit and then pass out last second or whatever. Whether you need a guy who rhythm doesn't really matter, I'm going to get a buck in those scenarios. The flow, fluid. I could do it. And a guy who's going to shot create even if they sag off Harden and now Harden is off the ball. Like PG Harden probably make more sense just from who PG is now. Obviously, just on paper, it should be Harden, Kawhi, and then PG Westbrook, right? Because Westbrook will let PG do more. And Kawhi kind of doesn't, he's a Swiss Army, right? So it would make sense. But I'm looking at the rhythm. The rhythm is drastically affected. Again, Kawhi doesn't really need fully that much rhythm, so you could do whoever. It doesn't really matter, honestly, if you're keeping the buck. I'm just trying to maximize the 2-2. I'm trying to maximize the 2-2, and I would think that it's unconventional because most would say PG and Westbrook, right? But again, I'm just looking at what I'm seeing, like that Lakers game, what I saw at the end. I'm even gonna do a breakdown of that eventually one of these off days. Like I see something happening with the Clippers just from a Kawhi PG perspective where the team and everybody's looking at like, oh, PG really the one. We already know Kawhi is him and all of that, but there's still a limit to Kawhi because of his fluidity. It's kind of choppy. He's robotic. So he's still elite. Don't get it twisted. And he's still him and he still turns up when it's time and his efficiency is still high. Like he's already maximized who he's supposed to be because his rhythm, the way his mobility is, he's not even supposed to be this type of guy. He already passed it. He overachieved in just his body mechanics, already hindered him to the type of creator he could be, right? Which is why even in the clutch, when you see him do 2 reverse pivots, I'm like, wow, he's actually like, he's here. He's here with it. I've been saying, nigga, reverse pivot. I'm like, come on. Just because you force pickup don't mean you have to do this pass. Like, just because the dead ball, you can still create with no dribble. Like, what are we talking about? Especially when you have that size, reverse pivot, bump him a little bit, and then get the step, get the look, and, Kawhi be hitting those. So, again, I digress. But the point is, regardless, those two have to really be those two for this to work. When you have Harden, redundant play style with Westbrook, and then they cancel each other, and the defense liability, and, all that type of stuff happening, Kawhi and PG really, really, really have to be efficient in ISO, in catching, in everything. They have to be so locked in for this to work. They have to maximize because you're going to get – that's the problem with Harden coming in. That play style of that PNR and everybody's stagnant and it's just me and the big, and then Harden doesn't pull in the gaps and all of that type of stuff. And it's just a redundant play style. He's just wasting time off the clock. That shit works with the 3-and-D guys. When you don't have that, and you have bucket getters, like you could only use that for so long. So PG and Kawhi, really, if they like for Westbrook and Harden's deficiencies, those two really can't really be having off games like that. And it's hard to do that because it's unfortunate because you're human. You're supposed to have off games and your other guy's supposed to take over. Like, but one of them have to always be on. That's guaranteed and always was the case. But now it's more the case because at least before they were ball handling. They didn't really use a PG how they used to use a PG. They literally would use PG, Paul George, like as ball handling as a point guard and Kawhi. And then everybody else kind of spot up, fill in, cut, whatever the case is. And that's why they were always they'll win games just off of just high tempo offense because it's 2 shot creators, ball handling and cooking and passing out and whatever. But now when you cancel that, another 2 shot creators who can create and actually will take advantage of a midi drop and stuff like that are now playing off the ball roles. This is why the tempo is lower. This is why they waste more time opportunities. This is why the shots get tougher, because the most open shot that the defense is given is the midi drop when Harden runs the PNR, when Westbrook runs the PNR. And I wouldn't even put Westbrook in this because Westbrook relinquishes the pill. It's Harden who is not useful if he doesn't have the ball at all. So Harden, also you two, if this is supposed to work, you can't do what you used to do in every other place, right? Don't shoot no midi. You did one midi versus the Nuggets, I seen it. And you switched it. You have to. If you're going to run this PNR with this team, this Clippers team, you have to shoot the drop. You have to shoot in the drop. You have to pull in the gaps. You have to. You have to be a different type of Harden. You can't be the same Harden you've been, or else this will never work. And even if you are the exact same Harden, now PG and Kawhi have to do way more. They can never miss a they have to like increase. They have to be KD like off the ball. Catch and shoot, money, efficiency, no rhythm. You have to be efficient all the time. 50%, 45%. Not even 45. We don't want that. 47, 48, 49, 50. Above. To make up for the wasted opportunities and the scenarios you're going to be thrown into when Harden wastes, 12, 13, 14 seconds doing the PNR, not shooting it, then walking it back out. Now just kicking it to somebody. Like, they're going to have to really, like, that rhythm shit that y'all used to. Remember PG was complaining, oh, my rhythm, and he was doing defense mechanism. My rhythm, I'm putting me as a shooter. Doc has me coming off pin downs, and I'm being a shooter. When Doc, I can run the PNR. If you have to be catch and shoot the whole game, and that's what the game dictates, you have to make them. None of that. There's no excuse now. That whole rhythm, all of that shit is out the window now. It's out the window. It's out the window. It really comes down to Harden. If you're really going to run that PNR, you have to be a skilled scorer running the PNR. You can't be doing just that run into the paint, try to floater, or throw or bump into him and get the left hand, or draw a foul, or throw the alley to Zubats. It can't be the same shit every time. You're going to have to shoot the midi. You're going to have to. Or do a floater. From time. Something in the gap that they give you. You're going to have to. And PG and Kawhi, you're going to have to cook. You're going to have to, any shot that leaves your hand has to be chicken. It has to be bread. You ought to shoot high percentage. That's the only way for this to work. Because again, versus the Nuggets are, they didn't have Jamal Murray, obviously. And he's different. But regardless, the system that they run is through Jokic. For them to be in a close game like that and be up the whole fourth quarter until late is literally like, this could work. It's not like it can't work. It's not, and that was what man's struggling. It's not like it can work. They do have the pieces. It's not like it can. Like, Norman Powell also has to be efficient. Like, everyone just has to be super locked in, super sharp to make up for these deficiencies. That's the only way it could work. They have to talk and really be like, yo, we have to get on that type of page. We really have to. Staggering also would make this work. Being better at finessing and staggering. Like, Ty Lue really has to get into his coaching bag. And he has been. It's just that, Harden without the rhythm, Kawhi without the, like, it's just culture shock for a lot of these guys right now. So I do see it going up. It's better. The most positive thing is they have their worst right now with the 5 games. They haven't won a game. So you can only go up from here. That's one. 2, there is ways to finesse this. And I kind of brought up some of them. I don't want to make this video too long, but I brought up some of them. There is ways to finesse this. Like I said, doing the staggering would make sense, which they already naturally do anyways, right? You already do that with the minutes and whatever. But the play style staggering, like I said, try to put PG and Harden together and Kawhi and Westbrook together if you're going to have 2. PG and Harden should never be Westbrook and Harden shouldn't be the 2 that's together. They should only be in the lineup if it's all 4 of them. Maneuver that properly. That's a way to finesse it. Because then when you had 2 of them together at times, then you have sometimes man in that for defensive purposes. That's 3 of the same type of guy. Like, that's too much. Those 2 should never be isolated on the court together. Either they're in this together when it's all three of y'all out of the 4, or all 4 of y'all. If there's ever 2 off, 2 on, it should never be Harden and Westbrook, ever. That's another one. And another one. Like I said, you know what? I think that they should do this. I think that the first guys, instead of switching it, I think that you should start the second quarter is normally the lull. So I would say start the second quarter with a Harden. That might throw it off. I was gonna say start the second. They already did start the second quarter with Harden, but do a Harden PG. Stagger his minutes differently. Do a Harden PG to start the second quarter. You know what I'm saying? And the whole first quarter, like that back end or early in the first quarter, do it this way. Early in the first quarter, you take off Harden and you take off Westbrook and let Kawhi and PG get their flow. Do what they do. Normal Clipper shit. Without those two. Normal Clipper shit. Then when you end the quarter, then obviously end the quarter, start the half, you keep, or maybe end PG off early and bring back, to end the quarter, end the quarter with Kawhi PG. Or sorry, Kawhi Westbrook. So what I'm saying is you have all four of them early off. So just like they used to do with the Warriors. Sub Klay Thompson out after the first 5 minutes. They used to take him out first. And then you take KD like 3/4 into the fourth, and only Steph plays the whole first. Sorry, 3/4 into the first, and only Steph plays the whole first. And then to start the second, it's Klay Thompson, KD. They used to do that all the time. You know what I'm saying? That's finessing. That's what I'm talking about in terms of coaching. That's real coaching, rotations, manipulating. You have to manipulate. You have to adjust, find a way. So what I'm saying is you start out with the big four, right? Some people are talking about off the bench, whatever. I don't even think you need to do that. Because even to start the games, like, they're not even that bad. Like, they're pretty good. They're not. I don't think you need to do that. Because you don't want to cancel someone's rhythm. Like, let them all four start. That's okay. Early, the first sub should be you take off Harden, which they already did. I think, no, they took off Westbrook. They left Harden in. Take off Harden. Take off Westbrook. Take both of them off. Let PG and Kawhi run it. Bring Terrence Mann in. Bring PJ Tucker or whoever. Maybe Powell. Bring Powell in. You do that. Run that for that bulk, that 7-minute stretch, or another 5-minute stretch, or whatever, 6, whatever. You run that. Then to end the quarter, before the quarter is done, kind of 2 minutes left, you bring back Westbrook. 3 minutes, whatever. Let him end with Kawhi. Let PG get his rest. You heard? Then now you start the 2-2s. Now you're doing Kawhi. You're doing Kawhi and who did I say? Kawhi and Westbrook to end the quarter, last 3 minutes, whatever. That's done. Now to start the quarter, you bring in back Paul George and you bring back Harden and let them rock with it. And then you do what you do and then end up bringing back the four. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. And just repeat in the second half. And obviously, depending on the game, foul trouble, you adjust. You do that shit that you do. But if that's what I'm looking at. Because again, like I told y'all, like, that fluidity, that Paul George has, and the timing he's on. Forget his prototype and his build. The type of shots he's been taking, the type of shots he's been making, the aggression he's been having. He's someone who doesn't need rhythm at all. Even though he still needs rhythm, but he needs, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if he has that first part where it's him and Kawhi, when it's him and Kawhi, PG's doing majority of it. That will help him now play perfectly with the Harden. He already have his rhythm, so he don't need to get his rhythm. Because that's what you're kind of doing. When they're off, he's getting his rhythm with Westbrook. Have his rhythm early with Kawhi. Let regular Clipper shit. Because that regular Clipper shit that those two do, been working. Hence, they were 3-2 without, you know what I mean? So that's the way I would stagger. And like I said, the play style, like when Harden's in, he's gonna have to be a spot up shooter sometimes. He's gonna run. Like it's kind of like, you don't want to be a one-trick pony, but a lot of it is they're taking one-on-ones, and because again the clock is being wasted, the pin downs with man switch, everything, like they're not really getting great looks for the most part. You know what I mean? So again, their best looks that they actually get is when Westbrook goes downhill and he passes out, or PG or Kawhi. Harden they don't really double off Harden, stuff like that. So they're gonna have to figure it out. It's gonna be a long process, but I would start there and based off of that, see how it increases, which they kind of naturally been doing. Some little bit of it, obviously little tweaks, but they've been doing good with the rotations. Like Tyler was a good coach, so off the rip, he already knows what to do and he's analyzing. You know what I mean? He's been, like, if you've been paying attention, they've been doing 2 on, 2 off, all 4. Like the rotations haven't been bad for the most part from what I'm watching. Just the play style. Like they're just getting used to that Harden play style, that slow tempo. We might not get it. Rhythms being cut off a little bit, like more than they're used to. Their rhythms are already off when you add Westbrook. Then but they're okay because they're still hoopers and they're bucket getters. But now you add another one of that in Harden. Like that's just not, you know what I mean? Because at least when Westbrook doesn't have it, one of us is doing it. Now when Westbrook doesn't have it, it's Harden first, and then one of us is doing it in terms of PG and Kawhi. It's like it's double. Like the rhythm is an extra cutoff of rhythm is now there, which is why you see Paul George's percentages drop and stuff like that. Like you're seeing it, so it's affecting Paul George more. But I feel like if he gets his two, him and Kawhi, and he gets his rhythm back, then he could now go and do the whole off the ball short sided. But Paul George is literally the one, especially in the clutch. He's the one carrying. He's the one like the sets is for him a lot of the times, like because he has the natural better flow. He has the natural better movement. So the play it should be dictated. But again, a lot of y'all, oh my God, it has to go to Kawhi. Kawhi's the better. Kawhi's the better. We know who he is. We know who he is. And it's just unfortunate because Kawhi doesn't say much and Kawhi's just no excuse. Oh, if I have to catch and shoot, I'll do it. Like he doesn't care. He's gonna and the rhythm, honestly, it doesn't matter for him. That's why he's still shooting good percentage. 46 or whatever it was with Harden being in the court or being on the court. But, you know, for the most part, like he's still gonna be Gucci. Like it's Kawhi. Like he has the real Mamba mentality, right? So he's always gonna be good. Like he's not gonna feel like I need this. He's like, oh, that's what y'all want. That's what. Remember, he came in the league playing with the Spurs, so he already used to that. He had to make his way in that. So when you come someone from that, he could play in anything. He don't care, right? So, I mean, they just have to do better at like calling man's numbers, put in some actions, getting easier buckets. So push in transition, harder to advance the ball. Like they don't be doing it. They have to find ways. Find ways. And then when they do the small ball, you all have to gang rebound. It's a different small ball than the other small ball because you're even more smaller. Y'all all have to gang rebound. Like, there's ways to finesse this. I'm trying my best to kind of point it out and from what my brain could remember because, you know, watching the games and I'll put it into fruition. And when you're talking is harder when you're not seeing it in real time. But, again, I'm doing my due diligence. This is just off the memory bank, right? But for the most part, like, that's kind of what I see that they could do into finessing, into finding ways, obviously, to make it better. And, you know, it's just... We'll see how things transpire for the most part, man. Like, let me know what y'all suggestions are. You know, this is real hoop talk. Let's see how we could kind of get the Clippers to kind of do good. Honestly, I would say it to be worried because they didn't need to do this trade and they were Gucci. They were 10 times better before. They got worse, but the worst is relative. They could still be a contender. They could still be a championship caliber type of team if they just have to adjust some things. Harden has to literally tweak his game a little bit. He has to. It's time. You have to. At some point, you got to, yo. You got to, fam. You have to bring back some of that OKC shit into this. You have to. That one dimension shit you can't be doing, yo. Shoot more middies, catch and shoot potent, and be good at it. That will naturally help the team. Naturally. When you're on your PNR, shoot the midi, fam. Be aggressive. Stop trying to get the switch to a step back three. And in the paint shit, and then floaters. And drop-offs. Like, stop. The midi's available. Shoot it. Stop wasting the opportunity. Shoot it. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, yo. At some point, yo. At some point, you can't go to all these places, Harden, and do the same shit. At some point, you have to adjust your game. If you're really skilled, you have to show that you're skilled, yo. At some point, yo. You used to play like this when you first got to Houston. When you had McHale, you just hooped. Go back to just hooping. Coming off pin down, shooting the midi, post-ups. Like, what are we talking about, Harden? Go back to that. Stop doing this D'Antoni shit. I know you've long lost and you kind of use... That's what happens sometimes. When you become a one-trick pony, you forget how you used to be and you're so used to playing in that one maximized way that you played that one way. Every play, every possession was the same shit. That now that's who becomes who you are. When you do the same shit for so long, you forgot how to work out the other way. You have to get back to that, yo. That's what these reps should be. Anytime you have an off day, go do that shit, fam. Get these reps in, doing like shooting middies, coming off pin downs, like being just a skilled hooper. And you have the capabilities to do so. But you choose not to because, again, it's lost. It's lost art. Your camp is probably not telling you what I'm telling you. Whatever the case is, fam. Go back to that shit, yo. Please. Please. Be a hooper. You have the capabilities and you have the skill set to do so. Be a hooper. Luka's adjusting. You damn well have to adjust, fam. Come on, yo. At some point. And he is. It's not like he's not. He is. But it's just, it's like, you know, that rust. When the rust is so real, WD-40 can't fix that. You need some extra shit. And that's what he's dealing with. It's like he has to, like, recalibrate. Like, even seeing those opportunities. Like, he's so used to just not having to do that. So, You know what I mean? Like, it's just gonna be a long process, fam. So you have to be patient with the Clippers. I know a lot of y'all frustrated. Y'all been hitting me up, all that type of stuff. I'm frustrated as well too because they didn't need to do none of this shit. But the fact that they did, out of all of this, I love what I'm seeing from Paul George. Some of y'all might not. Oh my god, these contestants, like, I love what I'm seeing. Look at the misses, yo. That aggression, the moment, you could see it. You could see it, fam. I'm gonna talk about it more. But it's true talks. It's true talk. Share, like, and subscribe. We out here. There's no doubt here and there's no drought here. You feel me? I appreciate y'all. You already know. Again, spread the word. Let me know what y'all think. When it comes, like, I'm going to do more Clippers breakdowns again. Raptors. We got to do some Suns. You know what I mean? There's a lot we got to do. Celtics, too. There's a lot we got to do when we ramp it up. We're going to do a lot. The in-season tournament as well. All of these things. But just bear with me. We're gearing up, and then we're going to take over. I'm trying to get to 10K by the end of the season. Subscribers. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to get it out there. I need y'all help too. You know what I mean? The true crew. You feel me? I need y'all help too. So it's true talks. It's true talks. Again, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And click that notification button so you know when I'm here. Because I'm here. You feel me? I appreciate y'all. You already know. And I'm out, man.